Submission Radio here with Laura Sanko, brought to you by Manscaped. 20% off with the code word submission. Laura, you thought we were going to have a bit of a chat, right?
I did.
There's a few things to talk about. That's what you thought.
Oh boy.
But Laura, I had to tell you something that...
Are you grabbing a gun?
Going for something.
My name is Dalton Russell. It's the inside man.
You're about to die.
But I have to tell you something.
Okay.
This isn't going to be a chat.
Okay.
It's going to be a celebration! Get some of that going. Where's
Let's
the thingy?
go.
We'll
Let's
put this
go.
together.
Do you have actual
We'll
fireworks?
cut this together. We've got a gear bag over here. Let's get this figured out. Let's take our time. Let's get this figured out. The room. We'll clean the room after this. Casper, if you would do the duties over here.
Alright.
Christian.
This is all off the cuff, so we'll see what happens, Laura. Of
This is amazing.
You're
Christian,
making your pay-per-view
if you haven't-
debut,
come over here in front of the
commentary
camera for a
this
second.
weekend. We have to
Yes.
celebrate
Over here,
this.
right?
Oh, what are we doing?
We'll go grab
It's
this.
morning. Can you drink
Grab
champagne?
this.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
Are those
Gonna get blown out.
are those sparkling?
There we go. Here we go.
I don't know what they are.
We're about to set off the fire alarm, but let's see what happens. Laura, you're right, but for first time in your life you're wrong. This is a celebration. This isn't a conversation. This isn't a conversation. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Just hold that. Hold that to the camera.
This is highly illegal, I think.
This is
so I
highly
love it.
illegal. I have a cousin called Steve. We got us these.
Camera down.
It's not lighting.
I think I'm supposed to like move it around and do cool stuff with it.
Yeah,
You guys
Christian.
are insane.
Well, hold on. Let's
This
just
is
get
amazing.
started. This is a celebration. Brought
really
to you by
is.
Manscaped, 20% off with the code word submission.
We'll
Try
give you
not to
two
light
of these,
this.
Laura, and you
Okay.
can bang them together like Stone Cold Steve
That's a
Austin.
lot of wine.
Is it?
That's
Not
a
wine.
lot.
This is a
wine.
fine champagne.
No, this is for me, Laura. There you go.
I'm just so excited that the fire alarm is not going off yet.
Yeah, 2 times. Fun story about me and Casper. 2 times when we went to Sydney to watch the UFC as fans, we did set the fire alarm off, thanks Dino, and brought the fire trucks over here. Here you go.
You guys are all about the heavy pour. Look at
Now,
this.
let's talk about. Hold on.
Cheers.
Cheers, Laura.
Cheers. Thank you guys. This is
All right,
amazing.
let's get serious though, because this is just the start of the celebration. 2 seconds. So first of all, me and Casper were like, what does Laura Sanko need for this huge announcement? By the way, if people don't realize, Laura Sanko is going to be commentating on UFC 293 here in Sydney, Australia, making the big debut, and we're
Let's
super
go.
excited. So we got a little kit. Me and Casper put our head together.
Okay.
First off,
There's more?
it's important first off to, and I think this broke a little bit, but it's important to start with a card, all right? So what
Always.
I'd love for you to do is, this is official.
Okay.
It was kind of like this. If you could
Okay.
kind of have a look.
Oh.
It says, and then just open
Oh,
that.
congratulations. It did say on the new baby. But
No, but what is
we've
it?
covered that with
No. What does it say?
a new little star to light up the world.
Exactly. And if you open it up,
Oh my
me and Casper
gosh.
spent all night last night. Can you just point that? Just explain to the camera.
Here's me holding what looks to be a dumbbell.
That's a microphone, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
And then
That's the hair.
my hair
You're wearing a
helmet.
hat today.
My
but
hair
people-
helmet. And that's you guys, really teeny tiny,
What are
off
we saying?
somewhere.
What are we saying?
Oh, it's so beautiful. Wishing you every happiness
going,
with
yay.
love. I can see it. I can see it. Is that a shovel?
If things don't go well, the UFC have asked us to provide a show.
This is of course going on the fridge at home, right, Laura?
This is absolutely.
Your kids' art is going down. This is going to be front and center.
This is going on the Christmas tree.
Yes.
For sure.
Or it could be an earring for the Sunday, but beautiful. Now, Laura,
Subtle.
this Sunday, we understand there are things that happen when you commentate. You can't get up, for example, to use the bathroom very often. You get dehydrated. So me and Casper,
Did you get me an
we
adult
went to
diaper?
the Submission Radio merch department this morning. We created an official Submission Radio drink bottle just for you, just for the event. I just want you to see that. This is the official Submission Radio. merch, if anyone is wondering.
Thank you. Wow.
So-
Laura's secret stuff.
Laura's secret stuff.
So it's like she could have urinated in this,
Yeah.
or it could be what she's using to hydrate
If you
herself.
see on the side, it says it's Lyoto Machida approved.
Oh, so it really
So
is to
it's
pee in if I
possible.
have to.
I don't think
No one will know. It's like drinking in incognito mode.
You know, that generally goes better for people with your equipment than mine. You know, they make a thing called a sheenus. You ever heard of a sheenus?
What is that?
It's
where can we
it's a
get
combination of the word she and penis, but it's like a thing that you can slip inside your swimsuit or whatever, your shorts or whatever. If you're at a Formula One race and there's not a toilet for 20 miles, and it just has like a little tube. It's like a funnel. It's a funnel, is what it is. It's a funnel. It's a fancy funnel.
Now I feel like we missed out on a great gift opportunity. You can bring this up. And then last thing, because posture is everything in commentating, would you say? And we see like DC fell off his chair almost a few times and things happen. So we don't want you falling off your chair because the ground's hard and we need you to come on our show because you're one of the people that we love to talk to. So we got you an official Submission Radio pillow over here. I just want to, it's a special rest pillow.
Yes. Your branding is just top notch.
Nothing but the best.
I just want you, and down the bottom, in case anybody wants to sue us, so make sure everybody knows this is an official Submission Radio pillow.
Whose handwriting is this? Is this yours or yours?
Listen, it's everybody. It's the people of Australia. They want to push you along to celebrate this magic achievement.
Laura's UFC 293 special rest pillow. But seriously, like, I'm only doing this because I yell at my son about his handwriting all the time. Whose handwriting is this?
Listen, let's talk about this afterwards. You can teach us how to. We do podcasts.
There's a reason why we talk and not work in an office.
Obviously, but listen.
I had carpal tunnel syndrome this morning. It was hard for us.
I am ignorant to what team this is. Tell me.
Team
The who Panthers?
Penrith Panthers, which is Tai Tuivasa' team.
Oh, okay.
But really, you should think of it as the Submission Radio Panthers or the Laura Sanko Panthers because this is an official Laura Sanko rest pillow.
Yes.
Ahead of this weekend, and man, let me just quickly say, like me and Casper, we're so proud of you, Laura. So excited for you to do this. How does it feel? We're just days away from the big.
Well, you know what's crazy is it feels.
You're not drinking your champagne.
I'm just chill. Just give me a second. I just put the pillow down. It feels amazing, and yet it feels completely normal. And yet I'm also really jet lagged, so I'm not really sure what I'm feeling. There's a lot. There's a melange of feelings.
You know what's crazy, right? You were speaking to Mike Bond and you mentioned how you auditioned for pay-per-view commentary, right? It didn't go well.
Yeah.
What exactly happened?
And it was an Izzy fight card. Was it an Aussie?
Yeah. It was the Melbourne card. What, 4 or 5 years ago?
Anderson or Rob?
Rob. I think.
Okay, yeah. So big one.
A huge one, yeah. And so what they do is they had me commentate from Las Vegas while the event was happening in Sydney, just in a closed studio. They record it as if, but I'm watching the fights live, of course. And then they had Brendan Fitzgerald did it with me in terms of like, he was the play-by-play guy. It's hard to do color when there's not a second analyst. So that was a challenge right away to my very first attempt at it, at least in a UFC setting, to not have a co-analyst to bounce things off of. So there was a lot of stuff about it that was was not awesome, but I took the feedback and said, well, it just means I've got a list of things I need to fix. It could have easily felt like a no, because it was a lot. It was a lot of like, no.
Yeah. Well, you got a vocal coach after that, right? Mm-hmm. That must be like in some ways humbling, right? Like to say, all right, we're kind of starting from scratch. For them to almost be like, all right, your voice is one of the things. Yeah. But obviously, like to do that, it's kind of one of the reasons why you're here now, right?
Yeah, I mean, I still struggle with having the same bigness in my voice that a DC or a Bisping does. I think I have to thank honestly, the UFC audio guys, the way that they mix my sound for Contender Series in particular. Hopefully it's the same guy for this event. He does a really good job of like rounding out my sound a little bit more. It's not that they give me more volume, but little things like that do make a huge difference, because if I spend all night trying to push my voice to match the same volume of a DC who just not, like, I did fighter meetings with him yesterday, and every time he talked, I was like, Jesus, you're yelling. Like, I'm right here, I just don't have I don't have a big body. I don't have a big, voice box. So it is funny. There's definitely different challenges for me in particular, but I think women to do this type of broadcast work, there's a lot of challenges, but we're working on it.
I think just quickly before you go, it's something that everybody goes through. Like even like if we don't listen to our stuff back, but if we were to like from years ago, we're kind of like, dude, who are these people? Like, why do I sound so stupid? And I think anyone who's ever recorded anything goes through the same thing. If you listen to say like Mike Goldberg, for example, like back in the day, you wouldn't even know that it's Mike Goldberg compared to like towards the very end. But I wanted to ask you, like, when after that audition that didn't go ideally, was there any part of you that's like, man, am I ever going to make this pay-per-view commentary debut? Were you worried after that?
Oh yeah, to be honest with you, pay-per-view, even then, it wasn't about doing pay-per-view commentary. It was just about doing commentary, period. Because at that point, I would have given my left arm to do commentary for Contender Series. So that was the initial goal. And to be honest, I think in some ways that was the hardest hill to climb. But the pay-per-view side of things, when I got this call, and I did know about it several months ago, but when I got the call, it was a massive surprise, completely out of left field for me. This was not like anything that got discussed. It certainly wasn't anything I brought up, because to me, it was a goal that was very, very far off in the future, if ever, to be honest with you, because it's an elite club. And I understand, I don't have a UFC belt. I never have had a UFC belt around my waist like the rest of those guys have, other than Joe. And Joe is his own, amazing superstar. So part of me was kind of like, you know what, it may never happen, and that's okay. I was at peace with like breaking most of the glass ceiling, if, and maybe leaving that last bit and being okay with that. But yeah, when I got that call, I was like, holy shit, wow, okay. Well, yeah, of course I want to. Of course I want to.
Who's Laura Sanko's favorite sports broadcaster of all time?
Ooh, that's a great question.
You can do podcasts.
Well, I mean, there's this one podcast called Submission Radio, and they were the first guys to really ask me to be an analyst and take my thoughts.
Message you.
Yeah, message
5 times
me.
in a row. You try to spend time with your family. Laura, are you there?
Yeah,
Laura.
Give me endless amounts of guilty feelings because I'm constantly like, no, I can't.
That's how we
I'm
get old, I
sorry.
guess.
That's it. Yeah.
You're part of that club.
Yeah.
And our dating game from 2006.
Yeah.
The guilt.
The guilt. To your question, I admired Doris Burke's journey, obviously, a lot. And that's someone that I kept looking to, like, she never played in the NBA. She was an excellent college player, which is kind of like, to me, the equivalent of what I accomplished in MMA. Like, I had a great college career, but it doesn't mean that I'm not qualified or capable of breaking this amazing sport down at the highest level. I think probably that's the one thing I'm still, if I'm just being brutally honest, insecure about a little bit, because you get a lot of fans who are like, oh, the fuck does she know? She's one fight, blah, blah. And I always, it's interesting to me because you guys know, like, there's so many coaches out there, amazing, incredible coaches that have never fought. Or that don't have winning records. I mean, to my knowledge, Eric Nixick's never fought an MMA fight. Eugene didn't have like the most amazing pro record, and they are absolute geniuses that would never be questioned. I'm not even comparing my knowledge to theirs whatsoever, but it's like, come on. Just let me beat Doris Burke.
Yeah. It's a different thing. Sometimes people that are so great, they don't have the ability to break things down. Like, it's like, why do you do this technique? Sometimes they're just like, I don't know, it just comes naturally.
Do it, yeah.
But you need someone who's that middle ground, like a coach who has the knowledge, the skill, but can actually pass it on to other people. And I feel like people like yourself, sometimes because of that insecurity, it drives you and you work extra hard to prove yourself. And you're basically a product of that. And I think like your passion and your work for the sport, really just, you exude that in everything you do. And all the comments, like when you come on our show, it's like, man, Laura really knows her shit. So it's clear that you've got that, like, you're always trying to prove yourself. I want to know though, how does it feel for you to be the first? Like the first woman, you will always have that title, no matter
you're gonna
what.
make me cry now. You're gonna make me cry. it's funny because it's literally hitting me right now. I've been so busy this week and I haven't really had much of it. I just, talked to my husband. You just saw, like, we keep missing each other because of the time difference. So I haven't really had much contact with my family. And this sport has changed my life and saved my life in many ways. And I think anybody that touches it as an athlete, a coach, even media members like yourselves, I think we all, in our wildest dreams, would love to leave a mark on it that lasts as long as possible. And records can be broken, but there's always, there's only one first. And that's Kathy Long. You
got us.
No, but seriously, it's it is really cool because I know that what she did was at a very different time in a very different era, and she never got to do it again. So it's hard for me to articulate how cool it is to be able to, one day when I'm old and gray, still point back at this stuff and show my son that, like, all the time I spent away and all the first days of school that I missed, and there's so much stuff that I miss at home that I question, why am I doing this sometimes? And it feels selfish at times, but he always gives me a good pep talk before I go. It's really sweet. And he gave me a really good one before I left here. So
what did he say?
Well, now you're gonna make me cry again. Way to go. No, he just said I'm really proud of you. I know that you're going away for a good reason and that you're going away to do big things, and that it's amazing how just at 9 years old, he's not on social media, thank God. He sees, though, that, like, someone doing something for the first time means that it seems possible for other people. And that's really what I want out of this. At first it was, if I'm being honest, it really was just about me being a driven person and wanting to do more and more and more and achieve the next thing. But the number of times I've had people reach out and say, hey, like, this has really opened my eyes to maybe I could do this one day, or not even necessarily in MMA, other fields. The number of dads who, say, I would love for my daughter to look at you. I mean, I've never tried to be or striven to be a role model of any sorts. It's almost weird to kind of say that, but over the years I've realized that that's, whether I meant to or not, it kind of is what it is for some people. And so I take that really seriously. And researching for Road to UFC and Contender Series in particular, I watch a ton of regional
and people
footage.
Don't understand that's hard work.
It is hard work.
It's not like researching the main event of a pay-per-view.
No,
it's going into a guy's record that hasn't really established himself, looking at YouTube fights, trying to learn about them. And
what's crazy is, like, over the past 3 years since I started doing Contender Series, I wasn't the first female to ever call MMA fights at all. We had so many people, Julie Kedzie, chief among them. But I will tell you, the number of women, there is a woman calling fights on every regional show now. Every single one. And I love hearing it. I turn on CFFC, there's a woman on that. There's, Titan. There's Cage Warriors. Like, I love the fact that all of a sudden there's female representation in a sport where there is female representation on the athlete side. So I'm excited to see it on the broadcasting side too.
We're going to let you go in just a sec because you have other interviews to do, but just quickly, big main event here in Sydney. We saw the press conference yesterday. What was your reaction when you saw Sean Strickland and Israel go face to face? Because there was a moment there, like, we all picked up on, where it was almost like a big build up towards a big moment, but something didn't quite look right in that stare down.
Yeah.
It looked a little bit off to us, a little bit, to myself.
Yeah, I don't think Sean is going to engage with him in a face-to-face, like, chest bow. Sean's going to be himself, and he's going to say some wild things, but he's not really the guy who's gonna physically, and I'm not saying that as a diss to him. That's just not his thing. I think Izzy wanted that, and I think Sean knew that Izzy wanted that, so he wasn't gonna give it to him, if that makes any sense. But I agree with you. It was an odd stare down. I mean, Sean's kind of an odd, you've talked to him.
Yeah.
He's fidgety, he's all over the place. You know, he's, when you do get him to kind of like settle into a conversation though, he's a very smart guy. Very intelligent guy. Says some crazy shit, but
Crazy press Manel.
yes. Did you have to?
So the water bottle.
That was you. Were you right by Kai?
Yeah,
Nice. I wondered who actually ended up taking the brunt of that. But
PTSD from the Conor McGregor press conference around that time.
my favorite thing watching that back, if you watch the clip, just watch Tai Tuivasa the whole time. He's just like.
Yeah, that's the best.
And then he starts doing this stuff with his hands, and he's like, he's like, I'm here, guys.
Just quickly, who do you think is the real Sean Strickland? Because I feel like there's so many characters in MMA, and Colby's like a great example of a guy who says things on camera, but like he's a really like good dude in person. Really good. I think Sean kind of falls into that category as well, and I almost get the sense that Sean, when he goes out and he does his thing and everyone's laughing, for him it's about belonging. And that's what a lot of people, like Israel is similar in that sense, because like he got bullied and stuff. And I think everybody at the end of the day wants to be liked. Everybody wants to feel like they belong and they're a part of something. And I think Sean subconsciously has kind of figured out like, hey, if I go down this path, A, it's good for the career, and B, like, hey, people like me. Like, and I think he gets something out of that, you know?
I actually think that they are probably more similar than either would care to admit. Because I think when you watch Izzy react to Sean, it's irritation. It's not anger. It's like irritation. And you can see him, it's almost like, and I think he's even said this, just reminds him of the annoying loudmouth guys that would make fun of him as a kid. And I think for Sean, when you dig into his background and all the stuff that he was put through as a kid and the way that he was brought up and the things that he was told about what to believe about the world around you, that is a trauma in and of itself. When you're taught to hate all these different people, when you're taught to hate people, you're also taught to fear people. And I feel like Sean Strickland is still he doesn't have those beliefs anymore, but still working through like the trauma of thinking that there's all these really bad, terrible people in the world. And when you watch him fight, every time I see him fight and he gets in that, like, who was it? Was it Jack Marshman that he was saying? Jack, and he was like, come on, Jack. Yeah. Come on, Jack. Almost like cheering him on to fight himself. It's therapy for him. It's like he's out there working out some stuff. Yeah. Really. And it's kind of cool to see, and it's why I think this sport is so important psychologically for a lot of different types of people. It saved me psychologically. I am nothing like Sean Strickland. I had a great bringing up, but there's something about the rawness of this sport that will peel back the layers of whatever other bullshit you've put on yourself and force you to figure out who you really are.
Final question for me. If Sean is able to do it this Sunday, is it the biggest upset of all time? And in your mind, are you giving him a shot here? Do you think he's able to get it done?
I don't see it as the biggest upset of all time. It'd be up there. But, BJ Penn and see, this is the problem with my brain right now. This is not Matt Hughes. Gosh darn it.
We've
anyway.
had too much champagne.
Yeah. Yes, we're going to blame it on that. I mean,
Alexa
Grasso. Matt Serra, thank you. That's what I was thinking. I was thinking of Matt Serra GSP. Sorry, I didn't even say the right person. But, you've got Valentina Shevchenko, Alexa Grasso just happening. Huge upset there. Amanda Nunes, Juliana Pena. It would be up there among those, but I actually think it will be more of a competitive fight than people are giving it credit for. Sean does a lot of things that you would never teach someone to do, but because of that, it makes him very hard to train for. And I think that Izzy comes from the best camp in the world with the best coach and the best game planning, but it's really hard to find someone who can fight like Sean and stay in your face and do those incorrect things that have ended up working for him because of the thousands and thousands of hours of sparring that he's done. But I'm fascinated by this stylistic matchup because of the way that Sean fights, the defensive structures that he uses, the twitchiness, the way that he parries stuff. You would think it would be a nightmare for him to fight someone who feints so much like he does Izzy. But Sean has a way of making things work and making things messy. And if he can make this a fight and not a kickboxing match, he's not going to win a kickboxing match against Adesanya, but he might be able to win a fight.
You think he hits the ground?
You know, Izzy got me all excited to see his grappling, honestly.
He's been working with Craig Jones.
I know, he keeps dropping the work with Craig Jones. He keeps saying, you know, I would really love to submit him. And I believe him when he says that, because I think to him that would be like the ultimate middle finger. You got submitted by a guy who supposedly has no ground game, you know. And I'm sure he does have a good ground game. And Craig Jones is an absolute wizard. And this particular style of jiu-jitsu that Craig Jones teaches, to me, is the best for MMA, because it emphasizes control. And I mean, I could get into all the geekiness of that, but you saw what he did for Volk in the Islam fight. I hope it hits the ground.
Yeah.
I'm hoping.
Well, we look forward to the fight, but we especially look forward to you geeking out on pay-per-view as you make your pay-per-view debut. Can't wait to hear the phenomenal analysis. Congratulations. Thank you so much for giving us your time. I know it's a busy week for you. You earned this, and we're proud of you, Laura.
Thank you. Thank you guys so much.
Congratulations, Laura.
Thank you. Cheers, guys.
Awesome.
Thanks.